My name is Annie, this is Liz, and we got married on October 31st, 2008.
We met first through a mutual friend at a basketball game. We were both dating other people. I was actually on a date with someone else. Then when we really met and we were both single, it was 3 years later in a bar in New York.
So we then started emailing and went out, and the rest is history.
Yeah. We had been dating about 2 years before we decided to get engaged.
It took a little longer to get married because getting married is such a different process when you're gay. We wanted to be married, and it's something that from the time you're tiny what marriage is, and that is not something we ever wanted to be without in our life. Certainly not because we were gay.
The actual getting married and the term marriage was really important because of the legal precedent it sets in laws and how laws are created. A civil union or simply a ceremony doesn't have the same sort of weight or power that the word marriage does. But really it was an emotional decision. This is the person I wanted to be with.
We wanted a marriage certificate. We wanted to go through that process. It was important to us. And it was also riding up on one of the most historic elections, and that felt really exciting to be able to have our marriage be part of that.
Getting married is much more emotional and really personal, but we really wanted it to feel it had dignity and legitimacy. And California at the time was one of the places where you could go.
We went out and got married the Saturday before the election. We had a ceremony in Napa. We stayed at a really beautiful resort. It was just the two of us and our officiant outside on our deck, and it was beautiful. It had been a really rainy weekend, and the sun came out, and it was just absolutely gorgeous.
And we'd returned to New York, and so we were wondering after the results of Prop 8, while this is in processing, will our marriage certificate come? And our marriage certificate arrived in the mail, and it had been stamped on Election Day before the results were finalized, November 4th.
By the time we got the piece of paper, we couldn't have gone back to get married, which is incredible. It was devastating when Prop 8 passed. Devastating for us. It felt personal, and it was incredibly emotional.
There are several thousand people who'd like to know what happens with their marriages from California. With the marriage certificates, as they are sort of in that holding pattern, I don't know, it's kind of too emotional to really think about it.
There was an article in the New York Times that talked about that the respect for gay people was riding on Prop 8. And I don't think I'd ever let in that I felt that way, but I really felt that Prop 8 represented a legitimacy in my life that I don't know that I knew how badly I wanted that. The days following that and all the articles that were written about it, that was probably one of the hardest times in my life.
I think it is terribly ironic that New York is the birthplace of the gay rights movement, Stonewall, and that this city with this sort of passion and energy that started is behind on what is the civil rights issue now for gay people.
What Prop 8 meant for me is that we have more work to do. We have more work to do as young people. In my lifetime, I've never faced this type of political action.
I think it was a wake-up call for a lot of people and a lot of other states who said, wait a minute, what happened in California isn't necessarily what should be happening in the rest of the country.
Marriage equality is going to be a process. And my hope is that we get there quickly.
This is a marriage and a relationship, and the community supports it, and we're not alienated or doing anything really much different from anyone else.
Married life is fantastic. It's about love, and it is incredible.